What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Scarlet and Violet era and talk about some of the crazy deals out there right now that I don't think are going to last long. And I know that we're in, a correction period in the hobby where a lot of things are coming down. People aren't as excited to be throwing money at the hobby, but there are a couple buys at this point that just don't make sense to me based on current market price. People should just be buying them up. And I don't think they're going to last a super long time. And I'll give my explanation and reasoning for that. But first, I do want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, TCG Automate. TCG Automate is a bulk listing service that uses AI to help you list up to 1,000 cards per hour using their platform. In Pokemon specifically, they cover English and Japanese cards, but they also cover Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, Disney Lorcana. You can see the entire list of games there. They also cover some sports cards like baseball, basketball, and football from 1980 up to the 2025 season. And I'll overlay a video about how it works, but essentially you do a little bit of onboarding. It's super easy. There's a step-by-step process you can follow. At that point, you're going to upload the scans from your scanner or photos from your iPhone or Android. The AI system is automatically going to detect which cards it is, and it's going to create listings for you based on your policies and also based on the up-to-date market price from TCG Player. And then you can easily upload those listings to eBay, or if you're on the US site, it'll automatically connect. You can also publish your listings to Whatnot or Shopify. And if you see down here, these are all the supported regions, whether in the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, Austria, Germany, Netherlands, and France. And the best part about TCG Automate is that there's a 3-day free trial, so you can jump in there, try it out, see if it works for you. And if you are interested in giving it a go, I'll leave links in the top of the description and pin comment down below. And thank you to TCG Automate for sponsoring the video. Now, getting into the Scarlet and Violet era booster boxes, the spreadsheet update's done. So if you're in there, you can go look at all the numbers. Most of the boxes were down this week. I think the only exceptions were Temporal Forces and Stellar Crown. And I do think Stellar Crown is going to slow down over the next couple weeks to months. That's just my guess. But SV Vase, there's not a ton of boxes out there. It seems like every single week there are less of them on the market below like 290 USD. Obviously, sales volume is going to determine how fast those boxes move, but it's still at a decent pace. I think somewhere between 1 and 2 boxes per day. And the booster box itself is still sitting around $240 on TCG Player. Paldea Evolved, same sort of deal as a lot of these other ones, continuing to pull back. We're sitting around $438 currently. Not a lot to say here. I don't think a lot of these boxes now are going to be moving up anytime soon. And honestly, that shouldn't be something that we're worried about because a lot of these boxes have had insane gains over the past year, Obsidian Flames included, Paradox Rift as well, even though it's back down to around $268, still up 150% over the past 12 months. Temporal Forces, as I mentioned, was one of 2 boxes up this week. It's actually broken into the 270 range. There's still a decent amount of supply out there, though. Don't expect Temporal to go crazy anytime soon. Twilight Masquerade, still a lot of this out there, sitting around $310 currently, obviously off its all-time high of around $330. Still up 91.6% over the past 12 months. That is definitely respectable. Now, Stellar Crown, I did say that I think this is going to slow down, and my guess and reasoning for this is we're finally starting to see some Stellar Crown boxes come to market. If you guys have been watching the Monday videos for a long time, I've been saying that Stellar Crown, outside of maybe SV Bays, is the set that constantly has the lowest supply on the secondary market. We're now up to maybe 15 cases or so below a 20% leg up on Stellar Crown. And it's still in its kind of average range in terms of sales volume. So that's why I think it is going to slow down in terms of price, just because there are more boxes coming to market now. And it isn't slowing down either. Like last week, there was more boxes than the week prior. And now this week, there's more boxes than last week. So we will continue to follow the trend and see where it ultimately ends. But this Stellar Crown box, $285, kind of crazy. It's gotten this high, in my opinion, anyway. The fact that Stellar Crown is more expensive than something like Paradox Rift right now, or even Temporal Forces is very surprising to me. But I think the thing that surprises me the most currently in the Scarlet and Violet era market is Surging Sparks. So I woke up today and you can see here the 3-month chart, it still says 239 on the platform. If you go to the 6-month chart, we're down to $230. And if you come in here and look, there are recent sales from today or yesterday, I believe, $197 USD. Someone offloaded a couple boxes, and multiple sales in the low 230-ish range. And I just don't know how long this will last. I feel like I've been saying for multiple weeks at this point that the demand for Surging Sparks booster boxes is at an all-time high. And this week was no different. I think it was even higher than last week. So it's continuing to push up in the amount of boxes moving on a weekly basis. And these are legit sales too, legit boxes. I know if you look at like Destin Rivals, Twilight, like, there's a couple boxes up there. Some very new sellers have boxes listed at like $200. They're obviously fake boxes from China, not legit product. But from everything I can see, the surging moving right now is legit and it's moving at an insane pace. And I just don't think that we can sustain a $230 booster box price for much longer. I think this should be closer to like $250, $260, maybe even $270, considering where a lot of these other booster boxes like Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, again, Stellar Crown, like where these are at, it just doesn't make that much sense to me that surging is around $230 currently. And it's kind of giving me the same vibe that Prismatic Evolutions ETBs gave me during the summer when they were down to like, I don't know, $90, $100. I know we had that drop to around 110 back in January, climbed back up, came back down to around $100. They jumped back up to around 110, 115. And then they came back down to 90. And at that point, that's when everyone was making their videos, kind of just mocking Prismatic investors, saying everything was going to zero. This is the crash, whatever. Prismatic's now back to like $137 in ETB, and they're selling consistently. Like it's a very popular product. You can even see sales from today, $144. I look at Surging Sparks the same way, and I understand that Prismatic is definitely a better investment and a stronger set, in my opinion, compared to Surging Sparks. But at the same time, I think Surging Sparks is just too good of a set to be sitting around $230 right now. So if you can find Surging, right? Like, again, go in here and look at recent sales. Someone offloaded a couple boxes at $197. Like, if you can find someone to sell you boxes of Surging at sub $200, that seems like a no-brainer play. That seems so obvious. I would be loading up on cases. Even if you're paying like $220, $230, I still think it's a decent time to be dollar cost averaging and adding a little bit more to your position. I do feel like Surging Sparks is going to be one of those sets where we look back at it in a few years, because I know it's not super hot right now. I mean, it's competing with Prismatic, Destined, Mega Evolutions. Obviously, on the other side of it, you had Paldean Fates, which was super popular. Twilight was pretty decent as well. So I think we're at a point right now where a lot of people are sleeping on Surging, and the conversation will eventually change on the product. Now, that's all I have to say about Surging. Journey Together, still selling at a decent pace. Less boxes, I think, this week out there than last week. So keep an eye on this. It hasn't moved down that much compared to some of these other sets, currently sitting around $258 USD. And then finally, Destin Rivals. This is always an interesting conversation. Obviously, we're nowhere near the $500 pump that we got up to. Remember, there were sales up to what, $700 USD on TCG Player. We're currently sitting around 380 and it's holding fairly steady in this range. And I think it's going to continue. I mean, when I look at the amount of boxes out there for Destin Rivals and I look at how fast they're selling, I'll say one thing though. The sales volume of Destin this week was about 50% of what it was last week. So last week was definitely an outlier 7-day period for Destin Rivals, but the box is still selling at a rate that compares to basically nothing else in the SV era outside of Surging Sparks, which is clearly the number one box right now in terms of sales volume. But Destin is number two, and considering that the market price is almost double what Surging Sparks is right now, that's actually a pretty impressive metric. So unless we get more Destin Rivals booster boxes, and a lot of them, not just a small reprint, like if you guys remember, I think we got more Surging Sparks back in February this year or something like that. There was definitely more that came to market. Like you can see here, late February, we're up to $265. And then we came down during the summer to around $230. So there was more coming to market here. I think if we got the same amount of supply of Destin Rivals as we did Surging back then, I don't think we'd hardly ever see this price move. Maybe it would come down to like $350, $360. The demand for Destin Rivals is still just way too strong, and it's not something I see slowing down anytime soon. So that's all I really wanted to talk to you guys about in this video. If you agree or disagree about it being a good time to buy Surging Sparks, let me know in the comments down below. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.